The Dallas Mavericks are absolutely terrible. But you probably already know that. I mean, pretty much every single person on Earth has mentioned it. You might have also heard about Cooper Flagg's struggles to start this year. And whilst he has struggled in certain games, so much of that could have been avoided if the Dallas Mavericks were a serious franchise. Because we are 11 games into the season, and Cooper Flagg has gone from the starting point guard of this team to playing power forward. He has gone from having no point guard run the offense to having D'Angelo Russell run the offense, and now Brandon Williams. In other words, if you wanted to make Cooper Flagg's first 11 games in the NBA as difficult as humanly possible, none of us would have been able to succeed in the way Jason Kidd and the Mavericks have succeeded. And after making the worst trade in NBA history, they were gifted, fairly or not, a chance at a new generational player, and the Mavs are doing everything possible to ruin his chance of being generational.
Yeah, I think Max said it fine. I mean, for me, it's the most, I've lost since, I think ever.
I mean, just look at the man. He is going through it. Now, luckily for Mavs fans, despite the front office and coaching staff's best efforts, Cooper Flagg is simply too good to fail. And the most recent game against Milwaukee was the perfect example of why Cooper is special and why the Mavs are absolutely awful in spite of that. Because in a game against Giannis and the Bucks, Cooper was the second best player on the floor, going off for 26, 9, and 4 to go along with 3 stocks. And if you wanted to see what he's capable of doing, just watch here where he has the ball out top against Giannis. He freezes him, blows past him, drawing the help from Kuzma, and watch him not only avoid the charge, but throw a perfect lob to Cisse. Now this is why Jason Kidd started him at point guard, because at 6'9", Cooper Flagg has such a rare combination of ball handling and playmaking that allows him to go past guys like Giannis and then throw lobs to his big. However, there is a difference between making a few plays off the dribble and running an entire offense, as we have seen. And it wasn't just that pass down the stretch which he made, but he also came through with a couple of massive buckets. Like here with 2 minutes remaining and the Mavs trailing by 1 point. He gets the switch onto Rollins and just drives into his chest before floating it in. But the next play, you're gonna want to see it. As he brings the ball up the floor, Christie ghosts the screen, he spins off Gary Trent Jr., and with Giannis helping over through the contact, he manages to hang and finish at the rim. And down the stretch of a tightly contested game, we saw exactly what we wanted to see from Cooper. And watching this game, it felt like whenever he got the ball, something good was going to happen. His handle looked sharper, he looked more confident, more assertive. When he had a smaller defender on him, he attacked with his physicality. When he had a bigger defender on him, he attacked with his speed. It was almost a perfect game from a rookie. And still, the Mavericks lost. And do you want to know why? Because after building a lead in the third quarter, with the Mavs finally hitting a few threes and finally looking like an NBA level offense, in the fourth quarter, they went 1 of 10 from 3, whilst the Bucks hit 5 threes. There are so many things wrong with the Mavericks. I could fill out an entire list, flip the page, and then fill out another list. But this right here is 90% of their problems. Because in a league built around three-point shooting, this is a team built around not being able to shoot, ranking last in the NBA for three-point percentage. And if you wanted any idea as to how important that is, which you shouldn't, second last is Indiana, the only offense that has been worse than Dallas this year. And when I show you what Cooper Flagg can do when he has some space and when he has the ability to actually attack the rim, can you imagine what would happen if he just had a decent bit of spacing? If he just had a league average shooting team instead of the second worst shooting team in the league? Can you imagine how he would be playing? And you know what is crazy about all of this? Even in spite of the shooting, in spite of the spacing, if he just had a point guard, we aren't asking for him to play with Kyrie Irving or Steph Curry or Luka Doncic. If he was playing next to any regular point guard who can set up the offense, he would be having the exact kind of season most people thought he would have. And I'm not just saying this, we have proof of this, because look at Cooper's numbers with D'Lo on the floor versus off the floor. Even when you look at the difference with Brandon Williams, look at the difference in efficiency. And no disrespect to D'Lo, but there's a reason he's on his 4th team in 3 years. There's a reason he signed a $6 million a year deal. He's a backup level point guard at this stage in his career. And this is where you have to cut Jason Kidd a little bit of slack, because he can clearly see that D'Angelo Russell, he just kind of sucks a lot of the time, which is why he was desperate to try something with Cooper Flagg. And that all comes back to that man in the front office, that war criminal himself. I'm not even going to mention his name. And when I say a point guard would make things so much easier for Cooper Flagg, he's not a guy that was supposed to enter the league as a Luka Doncic type of player. I'm not even trying to be funny by saying Luka, but a guy who can run an offense from day one. That was not Cooper's game in college. It's not his game. It might never be his game, let alone as a rookie. What he was supposed to be was someone who can handle the ball, who can play make, but then he can also catch lobs, he can get out in transition, he can be a cutter, he can be a screener, he can pop out to the 3-point line, he can roll to the rim. All of these things that require motion, that require playmaking, that require spacing. All of these things that the Dallas Mavericks don't do. And just to emphasize how miscast he's been to start the season, look at his percentage of field goal makes that have been unassisted versus assisted. And when you compare it to the likes of VJ Edgecombe and Con Kneppel and the amount of their shots that have been assisted versus unassisted, and I know those guys are better 3-point shooters, but also they're being put in better positions to succeed. And considering Dallas had hopes of being a playoff team, to say Con Kneppel on the Charlotte Hornets is being put in a better position to succeed, that is an indictment on every single person in Dallas. And he hasn't even been able to focus on being the best defender he can because of how much he's had to deal with on the other end of the floor. And on top of all of this, we have to remember how young Cooper Flagg actually is. I know, he just got drafted. Of course, he's young. No, VJ Edgecombe and Con Kneppel are 20 years old. Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey turned 19 earlier this year. Cooper is still 18 years old. He is one of the youngest players in NBA history. And when you look at other comparisons from guys who entered the league at 18 and had Hall of Fame careers, all of a sudden you start to realize, despite being one of the youngest players ever, despite having a terrible situation, no spacing, and a disgruntled fan base, Cooper Flagg is still doing pretty well. And if only the Mavericks could actually provide some playmaking and some shooting for him, and all of a sudden, I think he might actually start to look like the generational prospect that some people were calling him. But in the meantime, the Mavericks are a mess, and Cooper Flagg is being punished as a result of Nico Harrison. Oh, I said his name, but yeah, him and the rest of the Mavericks front office. Now, if you made it all the way to the end of the video and want to see more content like this, consider subscribing. Dropping a like would be cool. Have a great day.